Beautiful humans, welcome back to another episode of the I Like Birds podcast. I'm your host, Zach Rippey, and this podcast is dedicated to the non-believers, the confused believers, and the true believers. Because I, at one time or another, was all three, and I'm here to help you get a better understanding of who Jesus is and what he's all about. Let's grow in our faith together. You learn as I learn. I like the Bible, and I like words, so therefore, I like birds. Let's start the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the I Like Birds podcast. If this is your first time here, please subscribe and check out past episodes. If you've been a long-time listener, we appreciate it. If you've just dropping in from time to time, we appreciate you too. This is actually the first episode I've done since the Pray for Armani episode. And of course, that one has so many listens, and I truly appreciate y'all listening and hearing my heart about it and just hearing what happened and reaching out and praying. And man, it's just been overwhelming. I'm going to share with you guys basically what's been happening this last week and the inner struggles I've been having. And just, it's going to be godly. It's going to be about God. It's going to be about my friend. It's going to be about the journey, right? And let's just start there. All right. So these last 7 days were pretty much the longest 7 days of my life so far. Every day felt long, exhausting, and overwhelming. I was all over the place. My mind, my heart, my emotions, and even my choices were on a roller coaster. There was so much I learned this week. There's so much to be grateful for about life. There's so much desperation in my soul for life to be put back into Armani's body. I released an episode about praying for him on Monday, and I let it breathe for that day. Normally I release episodes on Tuesday, but I was so desperate for just my listeners to begin praying, and to hear what happened and just to hear my heart about it as soon as I could. And I let it breathe, and then I dropped the news on social media that Tuesday morning, and it went crazy. People shared the episode and the news all over social media. And I've never seen such a response for somebody that I care about so deeply. So it was very incredible to see. From that Tuesday until about Saturday, my phone was blowing up with people asking questions, checking in, showing love, asking for updates, and just giving some encouragement with active prayers attached to it. And it was truly beautiful to see how loved Armani is and how people just truly knew how close we are, right? And just the support from so many people, people that I never thought would reached out. Armani's GoFundMe is well over $43,000. $43,000 in just 1 week, which is so great because he's had some brain surgeries, all right? So he's going to need that GoFundMe without a doubt, and I think that we're going to keep it going. We're going to try to get it as high as possible just to alleviate any kind of, having money issues attached to something like this is just so stressful and such a burden on a family. So I truly appreciate everybody sharing the GoFundMe as well. And his story actually got picked up by People Magazine and has been shared thousands of times. I think it's been shared over 3,000, maybe 4,000 times now. And let's just say my dog is loved. All right. My brother is loved. My best friend touched hearts in his 28 years of life clearly. Armani was a reflection of Christ. And is even through this situation, he's still leading people to God. His fiance Kelly is holding on their His fiance Kelly is holding on so strong to her faith and has such a beautiful perspective on this tragic event that is still weighing very heavy on all of us. She has and she continues to turn to God during this time, and I'm so proud of her. And honestly, she motivates me. Okay, she motivates me. I'm like, man, I need to tighten up because I can't lie to you guys, man. I couldn't really read my Bible last week, and that's how I get in my bag with Jesus, right? I get kind of centered. I get the Spirit of God going through me when I get in my Bible and when I write. You guys kind of know that already. That listen to the show a lot, and I just couldn't read my books for school. I couldn't write. I couldn't focus, and all I could do was think, feel, and desperately pray for my brother. Right? I was in the middle, man. I was like the middleman all week for information from all his friends, from all our friends, from all the people that knew us together. We did life together for years, like every weekend we were together, so we met a lot of people. We hung out with a lot of people. It was back when he was single, I was single, when he first started dating Kelly, when I first started dating Catherine. We had a lot of lives we touched, and all those people were reaching out to me and asking, information and just talking to me. So it felt like I was like basically living in the bed with him last week, and it was heavy. My whole week was just me on my knees in spirit and energy, and I could just barely sleep. And when I wasn't praying or thinking about him or talking about him with somebody, I was using alcohol to numb the pain and just kind of watching like a game on TV or YouTube videos and just trying to distract myself, really. And it didn't even work, right? I still thought about it every second. But it was nice to actually sip on a beer and just think about my dog, because me and Armani love to have some beers together. He was big into, he even has an Instagram with his brother-in-law, George, called the Beer Bros, where they try like interesting beers together, like IPAs and craft beer and stuff. So, I don't know, a little side nugget for you guys. And I did realize I need to not do that though, because I just need to be at my desk with God instead, right? And in those times, or with my family, and I was, and I'm tough on myself. So when I say I drank, I was like, I'm not like saying I was getting hammered or anything like that, but I was definitely drinking more days of the week than I normally do. Of course, I was like, me and Catherine both kind of, we're like, yo, let's get some drinks, take the edge off, and just think about our dog, and so it was just tough, man. It was hard. It still is hard. I find myself asking questions about God that I never had before, right? And I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to that, like asking questions about God that you never had before. Like, how can something like this happen? So many questions, right? And one of the questions I had that I really struggled with is, because I've read this before, and I don't know, I just really struggled like understanding this, is like, if Armani was saved and was a child of God, then why was he not protected? Why was there not the armor of God wrapped around that neck when that paddle struck him? Why was an ambulance not already nearby? Why did it take so long for air support to get there? Why? Right? Like, why? God, why? God, what are you using this situation for? And I thought about that answer to that question all week. I just kept wrapping my mind around it, just trying to get something on in concrete for me to like be okay with, right? And I don't really have a concrete answer for you guys or for myself, but I have found some answers that I do have some peace in, right? So his friend Chris Reynoso, he called me, and we talked about Armani, of course, and what happened. And he's an EMT and a firefighter, so he kind of needed to hear what happened, because he kept like playing the image of his mind of what he did know, and it wasn't really adding up to the situation that was at hand, right? So I needed to kind of explain it to him, and he appreciated it, and he felt a lot better about it, because his mind wasn't racing with the uncertainty and just like not medically understanding what was going on, right? So he called me, right, and we're talking, and Chris is Armani's really good buddy, who's, like I told you guys, a firefighter in Florida. And 2 weeks before this incident happened with Armani, Armani and Chris were talking about Chris's parents and him, their relationship, and how rocky the relationship with his parents is. And Armani did what he was supposed to do, right? Think about what he was supposed to do in that situation. He asked Chris, have you ever tried talking to God about it, praying about it, investigating your faith? And Chris gave him the runaround and blew him off, right? I have pride. I'm good. I don't need that, right? 5 days ago, guys, Chris called me, and he said he's going to find out who Jesus is now for Armani, because of Armani. He needs to, he knows that he needs to turn to God and at least ask questions and at least investigate, right? And then our mutual friend Mallory, she said she's actually going to get more involved in her faith now. Armani's episode with Kelly and the Please Pray for Armani episode are the most listened to episodes on the show, and people are praying all over Florida and America for my best friend. Armani has and continues to lead people to God, which in reality, guys, is all I want to do with my life. And we are all really kind of called to do that those who believe in Jesus, right? It says it all over the New Testament. We don't live this life for us or for this world. The day we accepted Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior, we surrendered ourselves to him and his will for our own life. And there's peace in that, right? We don't fear death anymore. We don't fear it like we used to. Before I was saved, I asked Catherine if she's afraid to die, and she said no. And she meant it. I was like, whoa, that's crazy, because I'm afraid to die. But ever since I became rocking with Jesus, vibing with my dog, Jesus. I don't feel, I don't feel afraid to die anymore, you know? So, and I feel like Armani is the same way. I feel like people that believe in Jesus and know where they're going feel the same way, because like this life is it's like it's a fragment of time. It's so meaningless, you know? You look around, you're just like, what even matters, you know? Just the people, just the hearts, just God, you know? And we're made in God's image, so therefore, you know, people, right? Armani is and continues doing that with his life, which is incredible. He keeps leading people to God. And another question I had, y'all, was this one. I was struggling with this one too. Does the enemy take lives? Did the enemy cause this to happen? Did the enemy have anything to do with this? And I asked Catherine, and she really wasn't sure how to answer it either. And I didn't really seek answers from anyone else, but I truly thought on it. And even if the enemy did have anything to do with this, I have comfort, because God takes what the enemy meant for evil and he uses it for good. Genesis 50:20. And we may not have a full understanding of why this happened right now. It's been 8 days. It may take weeks. It may take months, years before we actually see the fruit that God produced with this tragedy. This whole situation motivates me personally to reach more people and give them Jesus before it's too late. Tomorrow is never promised for us. And hearing Armani and Kelly say that I was a seed that helped them grow in their faith makes my heart so dang happy. It is proof that what I'm doing with my life and my future is for a reason, an impactful one and a life-saving one. And I'm so grateful for that, like knowing that whatever the outcome may be, bro, like he's saved, you know? And like me and Olivia were talking about that and how much peace that brings us as like brothers in Christ, you know? And me, Olivier, and Mikey and Armani were best buds, right? Like we always go on vacations together, and all four of us know the Lord now, which is like incredible. And it all happened this year. Mikey this year, Armani this year, Olivia's grown this year, and myself this year. And like, what a perfect time. Not a perfect time, you know, I'd rather this not happen at all. But like, at least with this happening this year instead of last year, it's a lot better on our hearts and like our spirits and like the way we perceive it of this tragedy, right? And I thought about all week how I personally would actually be handling this tragedy without knowing Jesus. The pain would be so much worse. The confusion, the tears, the depression would be so much worse. The alcoholism would just spiral. And knowing God has truly given me peace in this tragedy. I know I told you guys I'm struggling, and I am, but I also have peace in this tragedy. And do I struggle at times? Yeah. Do I need to sip on a beer for a few hours at night like I did? I felt like I did, and I did it, right? I didn't get crazy with it, no, but it's not what I need to continue turning to. And I think God is helping me see that. I think with just really thinking about it yesterday and this week, I need this week to be different. I need to be back in the pocket with Jesus, right? Promoting this podcast, doing this podcast, reading, writing, church, fellowship, love, joy, praying, and worshiping. And I also thought a little bit deeper. I was like, man, how would Kelly be handling this if she didn't know the Lord? Because knowing God and having a relationship with him is more important than anything in this world. I can clearly see that. That's some of the clarity I have throughout this whole thing. Because he gives you so much like things you need for simply just seeking who he is. Like you can tell by Kelly, in the last 6 months, she's really just been going ham and trying to know who God is and just get deeper, bringing her Bible to work, talking to people about the Lord, bringing her sister on board. You know, if you've heard that episode, you see what God was doing in their lives. You know, you hear what Armani was doing with Chris. You know, I'm sure he was doing that with other people that he was reaching at his USAA family or with just his family in general, talking about it, you know, and talking to me, Mikey, and Olivia about it. Like we all were in this like realization that God is big and God is what we need to be pursuing. And just we'll use Mallory and Chris for an example, but there's so many others, but let's just use them, right? So Mallory and Chris making time to find out more about Jesus will do things for their lives that they'd never be able to do for themselves. You listening, same thing. You may not even know me. You may know Mani and you're listening to this. You may just have stumbled upon this and you want to hear about it, right? Make a decision today that you're going to seek God and he will reveal himself to you. He says that all over. Knock and I'll answer. Come through, baby. Read the book of John. Read the book of John, guys. If you want to know the meaning of life, the meaning of why Jesus came, read the book of John. It's so dope too. Like, come on now. There's a Bible app. You can do it on your phone. You can find it online. Go to the library. Buy a Bible for $13 on Amazon. I like the New Living Translation. All right. NIV is pretty good too. All right. Check it out. If you don't like to read, listen to other episodes of the show, and I did the reading for you. Just scroll back and start at number 2. Number 1 is just the introduction. Number 2 is when we get in it, right? And talk to a friend, man. Talk to a friend who knows who Jesus is. Ask questions. Reach out to me. Reach out to those people that you know are in the faith community. You know, everybody has somebody in their life that knows who Jesus is, right? Like, you know, have a conversation. Whatever it is, make that decision, because I promise you, when something like this happens in your life, when it's your best friend, when it's your fiance that you're marrying in 2 weeks, when it's your son, when it's your brother, whatever it is, like, whoever it is, you may have something like this happen in your life. Make that decision, because I promise you, when something like this happens, you're going to need God. And it's best to need him when you already know him. Okay? It's best to need him when you already know him. You can, but it's a lot harder to know who God is when something like this happens and you start from here, you know? So like Chris, sorry, dude, it's going to be harder than it was if you started a few months ago, but it's going to be worth it, okay? You listening, same thing. Come on, just, you got to do it, all right? It's so important, okay? And it's crazy, guys. Think about this, because some of you guys know both of us, right? And some of you just know me, some of you just know Armani, whatever. Some of you don't know either of us, but just think about this in your head real quick. Me and Armani, we went from being servers at Outback to 6 years later leading people to Christ. Don't tell me that God doesn't have a plan for your life. Don't tell me God doesn't want you to know him. Don't tell me God is done with Armani, okay? Armani has his name written in the kingdom's book of life, y'all. That's it. There is peace in that. Whatever happens to my dog, we celebrate him. We enjoy our memories with him. We enjoy the years we did get to be with him. The years I got to live with him as my roommate, and he was buying gifts for Noah and wrestling with him, playing Wii and going on the trampoline, playing baseball in the backyard, football in the driveway, just having fun, man. I got those years. I'm grateful. So when I've been praying this week for peace, I get that peace, and I think about those peaceful thoughts of just celebration of life, you know? And don't get it twisted, though. Don't get it twisted. I'm not just praying for peace, all right? I'm powerfully praying for a miracle. I am replaying the Rise Again Like Lazarus episode that I made a few weeks ago in my head. I'm replaying Jesus Can Heal a Boy with Autism episode, I think it's 30, the one right after Armani, 34, in my head. I'm thinking about the miracles Jesus did and the miracles he continues to do. I'm having people who reach out to me praying for a miracle. I got my brothers in Christ, Trent Anderson of the Crossing Church in Brandon. I have my brother and sister in Christ, Garrett and Kaylin, praying for a miracle as well, like intense. I have my brother Wes praying for a miracle. I have my family. I have my wife's family and so many others just praying specifically for life to be put back into my friend's body. We are speaking life from head to toe. We are praying for brain activity. We just need a little bit, because then the miracle can happen over time. We just need a little bit of brain activity. Just put it in them. Come on. Got me fired up. And thank you for listening. We're not done yet. Just showing you guys love. And I spoke with my son's mom Saturday morning about how it is too early just to make that decision of life and death that they were going to do after they ran a brain activity test on my friend Armani. Like, if Armani had no brain activity on this Saturday, the doctors basically are going to call it for you at this point, which is crazy. I've never seen that in a movie before, so I had no idea that this is even a possibility. But after 6 days, they were going to make that call if he had no brain activity on this brain test he was going to take on Saturday. I just spoke fast because I was running out of breath. But so I got a text Friday night that said that information, right? And think about getting that text on a Friday night. Ooh, it was heavy. And Kelly told me that she was going up to the hospital to be with him one last night before they ran that test. And guys, I was so lucky and blessed, and Kelly is freaking amazing to let me have this opportunity. She called me to let me talk to him, and she put the phone on his chest. And I basically went on a 25-minute monologue about how much I love him and the impact he's had on this world and the people around him. And I was just talking to him, man, just like, I normally do, just me being the one that talks and he just listens and chimes in whatever, And I talked to him for so long, I couldn't help it, man. I wasn't even thinking, oh, dang, Kelly and George, his brother-in-law, are there, and they probably want to talk to him too. So they cut me off. They're like, yo, we got to do our thing too. And I was like, oh, man, I didn't even realize how long I was talking to him because, man, I was just trying to get in every word I could before that test the following day. So I said my goodbyes, and I was at peace with whatever outcome was to come that next day. So it was a heavy thing to wake up to on Saturday of just that feeling of like, man, what's going to happen today? And even Catherine canceled her facial appointment that she had made because she wanted to be there for me in case, we got a bad call. And so I was talking to my son's mom on the way to work, and she was just uncomfortable with him not having any time, right? Like 6 days. She was like, I don't like that. Like, and he needs his body to actually fight and have oxygen being pumped back into his brain. I was like, yeah, man. I agree. And I just thought about it all day at work, and I agreed with her, man. And I felt this weird feeling of, man, that's way too soon to make this decision. And then I talked to my friend Jeff, who spent 10 years in the Army, and he's just a very intelligent man, right? And he was informing me that it's like way too early to do that test, and Armani needs more time to get his body and his brain right in that coma. And so Jeff made me feel good, man, because he's basically made me feel like, yo, give him some time on those machines and see what happens. Jeff was like, I think he's going to be fine, dude. And I can send you stories of people coming out of comas literally all day. And then, I don't know, he just put some pep in my step. And he also explained why doctors give the worst prognosis they can. In reality, they're just really trying to, I hate to say this because I don't want to inform you guys this because it sounds so cruel. And it is. They're trying to flip that bed. All right. They're trying to keep the bill as low as possible so that you'll actually pay it. And our healthcare system isn't the most compassionate. They're not as compassionate as we'd like them to be. Let's just say that. And I can go deeper, but that's not important. What's important is on Saturday, I called Kelly to see what was up with the test, right? And she said, I was so grateful about this. She said that they're pushing it back 5 days because Armani's on a seizure medication, and that medication could actually alter the test results. So in my spirit, I was filled with hope again. Yes, hope. Let's go. I need the hope. Come on. And then 5 more days, man, 5 more days to pray for a miracle and giving God time to work his magic on my brother, right? Put some life in him. And the same power that rised up Christ can rise up my brother Armani, right? And I was relieved. And you can tell on the phone when I was talking to her that she was having a tough day, dude. Tough day with that uncertainty of everything. And just like, I don't know, I was having a horrible day. So I can't even imagine the day she was having being there, And she had to have organ donor meetings and stuff, which was, I can't even imagine. That must have been a nightmare. I don't even want to think about that. But yeah, guys, man, I'm currently a little, like, I feel a little hopeful. Yesterday I cried a little bit, but not as much as I was every other day. I was more just, lifting them up in miracle prayers. And man, I'm praying for miracles. I'm praying for peace, and I'm praying for clarity. And I pray that I can actually focus on God during this terrible season that I'm in, that we're all in. And I'm praying that the hearts involved in this that are with me and feel the way I do, or even feel even remotely hurt by this, are able to focus on God as well. I pray this show reaches those who need God and need to learn about how dope Jesus is, because in reality, I think that's what Armani would want, man. He'd want people to just come to the Lord, right? And Friday night, you guys may have saw on social media, I went to a Let Us Worship gathering in the Trinity Park in Fort Worth, and man, it was heavy. It was tough. It was memorable, and it's been on my calendar for months, all right? So I've anticipated going to this for a while, and I originally saw myself going to that event on fire, ready to praise, ready to give God all the glory for this life he has given me and the grace he has shown me. I wanted to go in positive spirits, but instead, bearing the circumstances I was in for this week, I went there desperate. Man. The lead singer, Sean, Foyt. I can never say his last name right. The lead singer, Sean Foyt. We all like tagged him on social media to pray for Armani at the show, and he never got back to us. So I went there with kind of like a mission, right? I was like, all right, I need to find someone on his staff to tell him so we can have 7,000 people pray for my brother. And we found somebody wearing a Kings basketball jersey right away. I immediately pointed him out and can tell he worked there, worked with the staff, and we let him know. And he wrote down all the information on his phone, and he prayed for, he said he's going to pray for us. And then he said he'll let one of the pastors know tonight about it so that they can pray. And unfortunately, the prayers never happened on stage, and I'm hoping they happen backstage or in another corner or something. But they did happen also in the crowd, though. The first 30 minutes of the show, man, I was so distracted. It's not good to be distracted when you're trying to worship and sing about Jesus. I couldn't focus on anything else but my friend. I wanted to just cry the first 30 minutes, but it was so sunny and it just felt like the wrong time. And I was even looking behind me for a safe space I can go cry alone at. I was like, yo, where is a tree? God, show me a tree I can go cry at. And then a song came on called I Exalt You, and it played for like 3 minutes, and then they stopped and they prayed and they did something. I don't know what the heck happened, but basically when they went back into it, they started speaking life, and just a lot of the words resonated to the situation that I was in. And I was in that moment, and I just tucked my head down and I let it all out. Catherine was holding my arm, and it was just like, I don't know, it was very special, and it was powerful, and it was much needed. And then shortly after that, my wife Catherine and my sister-in-law Sharon went to go find Sharon's friend that was supposed to be meeting up with us. So they left, and then a woman came up to me as they left, and then, man, she prophesied over me, and she said I had the Spirit of God radiating all over me, and was just super like deep as far as like knowing kind of my life a little bit. And it was crazy, man. I can't even really tell you what she said because it was a lot. And my memory was all over the place because of me just being in that emotional headspace I was in. But man, she made me feel like God was really speaking to me, and it was crazy to just experience that. She was very genuine. Her name was Holly. Looked me in my eyes as she spoke to me like she was not playing games. And then I told her about Armani, and then she prayed for Armani with me like in the crowd. It was incredible. And then another woman at the end of the night, she prophesied over me, and she said that she keeps feeling this like pulling towards me to talk to me. And she said some words to me that were uplifting as well about what God is telling her to tell me. And it was crazy, man. It was like one of the weirdest things I've ever experienced, but also it felt the most like spiritual. And I believed everything they told me, like that they were feeling that, because like the lady that came over to me at the end, legit, I didn't see her go up to anybody else, and she was just like maybe like 10 feet away from me and was like with her family. She like just dipped out to come talk to me, and it was crazy. And then the woman Holly came back and prophesied over our entire group. She said something about this group right now I just feel like I need to be talking to. And then she said that she knew that Catherine had a friend in the hospital, and she has healing power even from afar, and she needs to start believing it. And man, it was just crazy. Catherine cried, and it was special, man. And then it was just a heavy night, man. It was a heavy night. And then I checked Instagram that night, and I saw a little boy who fell 30 feet from, I don't know what the heck he fell, but he fell 30 feet, and he came to the show in medical boots, and he was healed that night and also baptized that night, the same night that I was there. And it made me happy because the presence of God's healing was close to me, and I'm just hoping to see a miracle happen to my friend. Because once it does, we're going to take over the world with a testimony of a lifetime when it happens. We're going to go on tour. It's going to be the I Like Birds tour. I'm going to hype up Monty since he's shy, and he's going to share his story in front of strangers all over America and the world. And then he'll like start sharing the story, right? I can just see it going like this. He's going to share his story, and then he's going to forget like a layer to it. I'm like, yo, hold on, let me interrupt. You forgot this part. Then I'm going to go off into like a little 15-minute monologue, and then we're going to go back to Monty, and then we're going to go back and forth like that. That's how it's going to happen. Words have power, guys. Let's see these words come true. All right. And I was discouraged. That I couldn't get them to pray into the microphone in front of the 7,000 people and do a song and sing Waymaker and just, uplift him and just feel like the miracle was going to happen. But I was, even though I was discouraged, I was filled with the Spirit enough to keep me going through this weekend, right? So this Sunday, I hung out with my family, and I went to church, and church was a little hard for me just because it was just hard for me to be there. I don't know why. I didn't really feel that comfortable. The message was really good, though. It was about focusing on God during the season. And of course, it still spoke to me. Of course, he was talking directly to me, because every single Sunday, it seems like the pastor knows exactly what's going on in my life and just seems to be talking to me specifically. So that was great. I got home after lunch, and I just felt a little bit sad because it was officially 1 week since the tragedy happened. And I felt even more sad because it was Sunday. And I know that's family day for the Armani family with Kelly and his daughter Gigi. And they always hung out with his family, who's also like my family. You know, we're very close as well. It's all love every time I see them. They treat me so well. So, I don't know, my heart was burning for them. My heart hurt for her because I know the text messages. And the DMs and the words of encouragement are going to start slowing down, especially on the weekend. Because if my phone line is drying up, I know hers is too. And the people that are lifting you up in spirit and energy and just being there for you really helps you feel okay. Maybe not okay, but maybe just like we're in this together, you know, that unity feeling of we're all hurting together, but I'm praying for you even though I'm hurt too, you know. And I know with time, those words and those messages, they become less and less. And that just hurt my heart for her because I started thinking about that, you know. And it really makes you feel isolated. It really makes you feel alone and sadness and just kind of empty, and it makes you miss your person even more. So I was just feeling all those things for her. I don't think I'm a very compassionate person, but or empathetic person majority of the time. But for some reason, this situation has really brought that out of me a lot more than normal. So another lesson learned in this season is being compassionate and empathetic for people. You know, I think I was never that way because I never wanted to feel what the other, I didn't want anybody to control the way I was feeling, you know, or I wanted to just feel how I was going to feel. But like, I don't know, that's a very naive way of looking at it. So I'm kind of grateful that I'm learning that in this season, to really just have your heart be their heart, have your shoes be in their shoes, and just really feel that what they're probably feeling, you know. And of course you can never replicate it, but you can at least, you know, think about it, you know. And, yeah, I'm honestly glad that my messages are drying up because I was living in it too much last week. I told you guys I was like the middleman. Every 10 minutes I'd be in my phone messaging someone back to update them and just talking about it. And, you know, it just wasn't healthy, you know. And I'm not saying message me or message her or anything like that. It's just the truth on the reality that comes after time goes by, right? Things just kind of, people get used to the situation, you know, and the messages kind of dry up, right? And I just want her to know, man, that she's not forgotten, and Armani's being thought about constantly in this household and constantly amongst my friends. And we're still talking about him back and forth, you know, and there just aren't many words to say right now. We're all hurting. We're all hurting for him. We're all hurting for the family. We're all with him and his family in spirits and thoughts. You know, I want to check in and make sure you're good, you know. And thoughts and prayers, that terminology, thoughts and prayers, got hijacked by people in our culture every time something remotely bad happens to something that you're not even really praying about, right? You just see people just say it to be like, so they get the likes on Instagram, you know. I'm not going to get too deep on that, but that's kind of my opinion about it. A lot of people just want the sympathy of the tragedy that happened, so they put something like thoughts and prayers, you know, something that they're not. It's like a celebrity gets like hit in the arm and whatever. Sorry. But the truth is, man, thoughts and prayers are a real thing, you know, and I've been living with it all week. I've been thinking about it. I've been praying about it, like every moment in between, like work where I'll get like somebody a drink. I'll drop the drink off. I'll go back and get them like salt if they need salt. From that walk to the next walk, I'm praying to God, man, asking for a miracle. I'm praying to God, asking for peace. I'm praying to God, asking for clarity. And I don't understand this like I need to yet. I don't understand the situation like I need to yet. So I need that clarity. I don't have as much peace as I'd like about it. And all I really want is a miracle, man, because I miss my friend. I miss talking to him about God. I miss his laugh. I miss the way he says, bro. I miss sending him a picture of my beer with his will you be my groomsman koozie he gave me. I miss sending him new songs and him being like, yo, that's a vibe, bro. And it's interesting because on my little bulletin board right above my computer that I'm like looking at right now as I record this, I have a little message from him that says, it's been up here since he sent it, because I have 5 things on here and this is one of them. He says, you're receiving this because you are a very important individual in my life. The energy you bring is crazy. And I'm glad to be able to call you one of my best buds. You better chug when you get this and Marco Polo me, LOL. Love you, man. Can't wait for some good times ahead. And that's on that little note he sent me with the groomsmen thing is on my bulletin board. And and the sticky note that's below it is I'm like my dad, a little note that Noah wrote me. And it's just sad, man. It's been tough, and my heart hurts every day. The physical pain that exists behind my chest, I didn't even know that was a real thing. When people said they're hurting, dude, you legit, not only does your heart hurt, but like you physically feel pain even when you're not crying. It's crazy. Man, and I miss just being happy with Jesus every day, man. I miss feeling like life is good. You guys have heard on this show, man, I get pretty hyped up. Even when things aren't going well, I get pretty hyped up. And Jesus brings a lot of joy in my life. And I felt so desperate and so confused this week. And I'm just praying I get some clarity and can actually refocus my days on the Lord, I'm trying my best, guys. I am trying my best. And I feel like a spiritual leader with this podcast. And I try to encourage people to, I try to motivate them, man. I really do try to be a leader for the peeps out there. And I appreciate all the love and the messages I receive from so many people. And it's been overwhelmingly beautiful. And I felt the love from so many. And I love talking about my friend Armani, man. It brings me joy. And I feel like I'm speaking life back into his body. And I encourage you to do the same. Like part of me, this is a little off what I wanted to talk about, but part of me wants to go see him, but part of me doesn't because, man, me and my friend Jeff had a conversation about this. Is like, I see him in such a light, and I just have such a good, like, when I close my eyes, I think of Armani. Like, I don't think about this. I don't think about this week, I don't think about that situation. I just think about my brother, and my best friend and the dude that I would do everything with. We would go to dinner together, we'd go to lunch, we'd work out, we'd swim. We'd do just like, we'd go to the beach, we'd play hooky at work, we'd go to Outback together, we'd ride together, we'd go in the Acura, he'd let me use the aux cord, we just have so many memories and so it's such good vibes, man. I think we only had 1 or 2 disagreements about something ever, and it was always so quick the way it ended. He used to make me and Catherine like dinner at night and stuff, and he would clean the floors at our place, and he would complain about it every time, and it's so funny, man. And I just want to remember him in that light and just think about him in that light, like think about that life, like speaking life back into his body, right? And everything else in life doesn't feel important right now, okay? Like that whole week, man, nothing felt important besides just him and just my family and just being there for my friends. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm falling behind on my books for school. I'm falling behind, and my days feel cloudy with my thoughts. My heart hurts and my faith is wavering at times. One minute I'm hyped up praying for a miracle and believing one will happen. The next minute I'm sick of everything being in limbo and I'm frustrated. One minute I'm waiting for the next text update. The next minute I want to throw my phone at the wall. I'm all over the place, and I'm truly going to focus on God this week instead of just my emotions. And it's okay to feel, right? And I'm giving myself some grace. Armani's name has consumed my conversations all week, and I wouldn't have had it any other way. I just know I need to go to God. I need to go to God instead of hiding from him. And best believe I've been praying and worshiping all week, but I really need to get in my spirit when I read and when I write and when I focus on him. And I haven't done that well this week with it. And I'm going to make a priority to do it this week, get some spirit going, and really just get in my bag, right? And I have off this Wednesday in the daytime, and the rest of the week I have the nights off for the most part. And I'm going to go to men's night at church tonight. And Wednesday I'm going to go back to my men's Bible study and maybe even the worship sermon that they have after that. Because last Wednesday was tough. I couldn't go because I had to start my open mic back up, and I was just, I didn't want too many other distractions, and it was going to be hard to focus while I was there. So I'm going to go this week. And I did the open mic last week, and it was good to see some friends. But it was also hard to laugh at anything. It was just hard to focus when someone spoke to me. And it was just a heavy week all around. All around last week was heavy. And I'm sure you guys felt the same. And you guys can relate and empathize. And I'm hoping this week we can have a different energy and a different mindset about it all. So I'm praying for a miracle. I'm praying for peace, faith, focus, and clarity this week. And please do me a favor and share the show with anyone and everyone. Share Armani's GoFundMe. Share his story that People Magazine published. We need people to know about Jesus, and I can't wait to make another episode that is just me sharing with you guys what I'm learning in Bible school, or a message that I pulled from the good old Bible itself. And those days are among us soon. My faith journey these past 5 months of doing this has really just been all over the place, right? From baptism to my friends getting saved to things happening in Colorado with Olivier's dream. And man, it's just been all over the place, right? But I'm so grateful that you guys listen and are here for it, right? And I have Birdhouse members that are praying and sharing Armani's GoFundMe and sharing the podcast and just sharing love and prayers for him and putting him in your story and changing your link in your bio on Instagram to his GoFundMe and telling people to go donate. That's huge, man. That warms my heart. Y'all are seriously the best. And if it's your first time here to the show, please subscribe for future episodes that will positively impact your life. And each episode is a standalone episode, and you can really learn a lot about Jesus and God and everything in between. Let's grow in our faith together. Not only are you making a positive impact on your life now, the people around you, you're also making the biggest impact on your eternal life. So get in your prayer pocket in bed and talk to God, text God, listen to the pod, listen to your worship music, ask someone if they want to talk about Jesus. Let's do what Armani would do. I love you guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for praying. Really, thanks for praying.
Appreciate you having us, Zach. I like birds.